Welcome to the ClearPath ePortal Developer 4.1 Capabilities Demonstration. This video is part of a series of videos which explain the steps to develop different types of data sources and presentation projects in ePortal Developer for modernizing ClearPath applications. In this demonstration, we will show you how to create a web service presentation project. To create a web service presentation project, we should have created a data source project. In this demonstration, we will use an OS 2200 Open DTP Data Source project. The eBank data source project we have selected points to an eBank application which implements some simple banking operations such as accessing account balance and transferring funds between accounts. Let's get started. We have already loaded the OS 2200 Open DTP Data Source project in the Visual Studio IDE. We will add a new Visual Studio project by selecting menu option File, Add, New Project. We will now see the Visual Studio New Project dialog box. Let's select the Web Services project type under the ClearPath Presentation node. We are creating an ASP.NET based WCF web service application. So select the project template WCF ASP.NET Compatibility Service Application. Let's name our web service project as eBank Service. Leave the location to the default value and click OK. We will now see the Presentation Generation Options dialog box. This dialog provides the web service generation options. For example, we can provide a different name to the web service than the default service. Similarly, we can specify a prefix to be used in the web method names. Please note that when we create a web service presentation project, each client message in the data source project will result in a corresponding web method with the same name as the client message. This prefix will be used along with the client message name. Note that since this application does not require us to log in, this application does not require a session. This means that the ePortal runtime does an implicit connect each time we call a particular web service method to perform a banking operation. Not requiring a session is the default for an OS 2200 application. In this demonstration, we will accept the default settings and click OK. Now, let's build a solution by selecting menu option Build, Build Solution. Now, let's configure the server application information. In Solution Explorer, right-click eBank Service Project node and choose ClearPath ePortal Application Configuration. An application configuration dialog is opened. eBank Data Source tab contains the server application information. For OS 2200 hostname, enter the IP address or DNS name of the OS 2200 server on which the Open DTP application resides. In our case, this is rs20.rsvl.unisys.com. The ePortal Application Program or AP title uniquely identifies a particular ePortal presentation application. Let's enter this unique value that we previously configured in the OSITP software that is running on the OS 2200 system. For ePortal Application Entity or AE qualifier, let's enter 1004. This AE qualifier should be unique for each concurrent execution of the ePortal presentation application. Let's leave the other settings to the default values. Click Apply to save the changes and then click Close. We can test this web service presentation application in Visual Studio IDE. Right-click the eBank Service project in Solution Explorer window and select Set as Startup Project. Then select the menu option Debug, Start Debugging to run the WCF test client. the WCF Test Client window will be opened. WCF Test Client is a GUI tool that enables to invoke a web method and display the response. Tree View in the left pane displays the list of web methods available in the web service. When we double-click a web method, like Send Bufin Transfer Fund, on the right pane, a window with request and response sections will be displayed. In the request section, we enter the web method parameters and then click on the Invoke button to invoke the web method. In the response section, we will get the output of the web method. Now let's first test the Send Bufin Get Accounts web method. Double-click Send Bufin Get Accounts web method in the left pane of the WCF Test Client. It will open Send Bufin Get Accounts window in the right pane. Select the transcode value as Get Accounts and click on the Invoke button. The response section displays the account details. Similarly, we can test the web method Send Bufin Transfer Funds. For Send Bufin Transfer Funds, select the transcode value as Transfer Funds. Then we will enter the fund transfer details. Amount as 2000, from account as interest checking, and to account as Visa credit card. We will leave the optional fields as null. Click the Invoke button to do the fund transfer. We can see that in response we get a confirmation message. We can refine the web service presentation project so that transcode is not required to be selected manually. Whenever we invoke a web method, we must select the correct value for transcode. However, the correct transcode is implied for the particular web method we are calling. For example, when we call Send Bufin Get Accounts, we always want to set transcode as Get Accounts. Now let's stop debugging by closing the WCF Test Client window so that we can make the changes for automatically setting the transcode. Also make sure that all the ASP.NET Development Server instances started by the Visual Studio to host the web application for testing are stopped by stopping them manually in the system tray. Double-click the Bufin Get Accounts server message to open it in Message Editor for editing. Select the transcode node. In its Properties page, select the initial value as Get Accounts from the drop-down. Then, click the visible property and select the false value for it. Similarly, double-click the Bufin Transfer Funds message to open it in Message Editor for editing. Select the transcode node. In its Properties page, select the initial value as Transfer Funds from the drop-down. Then click the visible property and select the false value for it. Please note that when we save the changes in the server message, corresponding client messages will be automatically updated. Build the project by choosing Build Solution. Then select the menu option Debug, Start Debugging to run the WCF Test Client again. In the WCF Test Client window, double-click Send Bufin Get Accounts. As we can see now, transcode field is not visible and we don't need to set its value here. Click on the Invoke button. The response section displays the account details. Similarly, double-click the Send Bufin Transfer Funds method. As we can see now, transcode field is not visible and we don't need to set its value here. We can enter the fund transfer details and click on the Invoke button to do the fund transfer as we did earlier. Now let's stop debugging by closing the WCF Test Client window. This completes the demonstration. Unisys offers a comprehensive set of ClearPath services to enrich the value of your ClearPath applications, data and systems. Please contact your Unisys representative for more information.